Episode 12 of moving my game from Unity to Godot. And you're probably like, well, where have you been? You haven't posted yesterday. Exactly. Because I started making the crafting system and I thought I would have enough time. But as always, I fucked myself and I didn't have enough time. So I finished it today and I'm just going to make one video out of it. I know I've said I'll finish the animations and the smoothing, but as I said, I thought I could just pull this big mechanic in one day. You couldn't, but I did in 2 days, so it's fine. And also why I didn't have enough time, because I had to make all the items, and now we have all the utility items, which are for crafting, and we have also the crafting benches. Yes, they're looking very lovely. And also we have crafting, so let me show you. Also, at some point Godot was like loading very slow, but it just fixed itself somehow. I was about to break my monitor, don't ask me. Yeah, so now you can come to these and you have to hold it. And bam, you get crafting, you get all the recipes. And why is there double of the doorway and the wall? I know, but I didn't get to fix it. It doesn't matter really. And then you can select it and it shows your craft button if you have all the ingredients, which we don't have at the moment. So let me just pick up these logs. And you can see that they're... Also, there's a bug with the stacking. I had to fix that. That took me like 2 hours. But now they're all stacking nice. Which one? It's not perfect, okay? You don't have to hold it the second time you enter it. I'll fix that, don't worry. So now, for example, if I select this blank big window wall, it tells you the ingredients. This is a bug as well. I have to fix it. It's fine. Then you get the product, what you get, and also you don't get the craft button because you don't have all the ingredients. And I will also make these not interactable if when you don't have ingredients. I haven't gotten around to doing that. I know, but the logic works, okay? But if I select this plank, I can craft it. And since I have 2 logs, it only takes once. I can craft 2 planks, or 8 actually, because I get 4 planks for 1 log. And if I don't have any more, the craft button hides. Yeah, and I have 8 planks, and I don't have any more logs. Yeah, that took you 2 days. God damn. Yeah, exactly. Let me show you what's under the hood. All right, of course, in our HUD or in our player, we now have crafting UI, which looks like this. So basically, what I'm doing is I have the stop container, which always stays the same, and then I have 3 more containers for the wood, for the stone, and for the plank. Now, but they're empty. Yeah, exactly. Basically, what they have inside of them is just a grid and then some crafting slots. Let me show you the logic for the crafting slots first. Crafting slot has a recipe. It has active color, inactive color. I didn't get around to doing this, but it's fine. It has a button as well, so you can click it. I tried doing it on input, but it wasn't working. I should probably delete that. Yeah, and now I'm just using the button on click method, or pressed. And then when you click it, it sends a message to the crafting controller, which this signal is connected to. Yeah, pretty much it just has an index and then whatever. It doesn't actually have any recipe. It's just an empty slot at the moment when the game starts. But when the game starts, I call init recipes, and then I have 3 big arrays, or I actually have 6, but on the crafting UI. So there's wood recipes, plank recipes, and stone recipes. It looks like this. And these should be all the recipes for now in the game until I add like guns. I'll probably make a different crafting bench for the guns, but we'll see. For now, 14 recipes per thing. Yeah. And then I also have all the slots in an array, which I just had to manually drag and drop, but it's fine. I'll just do it once and that's it. And then it goes through all the wood slots and assigns a recipe to them. Calls called slot set recipe, and it gives it the wood recipe of the same index. Pretty simple stuff, and it does that for the wood, plank, and stone. And then it updates current recipe and updates available recipes. What those functions do, let me tell you. Okay, I'm lost a bit. Wait. Yeah, update current recipe just sets the current recipe, which is a reference, which changes, of course, with the recipe you set. And if current recipe is not equal to null, if you don't have a recipe selected, everything just gets cleared and set to 0, the image, the texture, the button, everything, and the text. And if there's a recipe, then I just append the text of the recipe, of the current recipe, which I also have to show you that, I'm sorry. Recipe just returns a big array of strings with the name, with all the ingredients, and with all the products. In case, well, I mean, it's just one product. Yeah, I didn't make that support, but yeah, it's just one product for now. Yeah, and then it sets those. That's pretty simple. Select recipe, as I already said, just sets the current recipe. Also check ingredients for recipe. This is where I lost about 3 hours. And let me tell you why. So it goes through all the ingredients of a recipe. First, it goes to the inventory and checks if the inventory has that item. Cool. Stores into a variable. Then it checks if the inventory has a quantity of the item that is needed. Recipe also has an array of inventory items, which are the ingredients, and then a different array for the amount. So they're kind of matching. So ingredient 0 has ingredients amount 0, if that makes sense. Yeah, basically it checks that. If it has both, it loops more, it continues, otherwise it returns false. And if it looped through the whole for loop, then it returns true. Now, the problem wasn't in this. The problem was, because I had the logic, the problem was in the has item and get total quantity of the item container. Why was that a problem, you might be asking? Well, let me find the script and I'll show you. Where are my scripts? Scripts, inventory, item container, yeah. So I had to change them because, for example, has item, I was just using a item slots dot has, which is a built-in array function, and then you give it an item and it checks if it has that item. And it was always returning false. I thought it was gonna work. It took me so long to figure out why it wasn't. So I just did what I initially did in Unity. It just wrote the logic for it. And also get total quantity has a method of, if you give it an array, you give a count, and it should return the count of an item. This, I understand that it wasn't working because it's not set up the same way, because I'm using quantity in an item slot and this just returns an item. I'm okay with that, but this wasn't working and it took me a whole bunch of time to figure it out. It loops through everything, returns true if there's everything, if there's not, returns false, basically. Whenever I press the craft button, I once again loop through all the items. For some reason, you can never be sure enough, and then I add the item to the inventory, remove all the ingredients, and set the craft button to check ingredients for recipe. If you have more, it says it's a true. If you don't have more, it says it's a false. So you don't hack the game, which you couldn't actually do because it checks whenever you start crafting. But it's fine. I just check many times. Also, whenever you enter a crafting UI, it updates available recipes, which it goes through all the slots and checks if I have the ingredients for them. I know it's a lot of logic to do in like a small amount of time, but I mean, I have to do it. I really don't know a different way. Also, I'm just thinking about it now. I should probably update available recipes whenever I craft, because if you craft a plank, then it might change because some other recipes need planks and so on and so on. So yeah. Okay, that's all of that. What else do I have to show you? No, that's pretty much it. Yeah. It's actually much simpler than I make it seem to be, or that I thought it was. But now it works, and you can pick up all these items, and you can do this. You can craft. There's recipes for a medkit now, and Oh, this is automatically done. That's cool. Yeah, I'm thinking about changing the way it shows the ingredients because it's just a bit messy now. But for like first use, it's great. Also, I had to make all the building part items, which are a bit complicated. That took me the longest to make because every building part item has building part tier, building part type, and placement type. This I know I will need when I'll be making the building system because I already did part of it in Unity, so I know most of the logic that I'll need. And let me just show you one of the building part items, building parts. Those are the recipes, and then there's let's go to the plank wall. As you can see, it needs a tier, which is wood, plank, or stone, and a type, which is any of these really. I haven't used these in my logic, but I would like to have that information presented to me whenever I have an item. And placement type, it's either connection point or grid, but we'll get to that when I get to the building system. I didn't assign any of the scenes. These are the objects that will be instantiated into the world. Obviously, I didn't make them, didn't need to. And then it just has all the inventory item like the name, description, icon, max stack, and action type. Obviously, they will have a different max stack. I just set everything to 1 for now. But yeah, so now we can craft if we get enough materials. And yeah, I'll probably work on the recipes and the amounts you need for the recipe as we go on. Yeah, but some of the items are not showing here. I'll figure that out. But we pretty much got a crafting system working, which is so amazing because it's another big thing that we need for the game. And if we get the building system done, and I think I could do it in the next week, we can finally start moving on to more of the weapons, which is like attacking and stuff like that. And then probably some dummy enemies, like just a square that I can attack. Yeah, so that's the general plan. I get the building system done, then get the attacking, and then get like some enemies in here. I know I'll need like, I know I won't go for humanoid enemies. I'll definitely go for animals. So I'll need, at some point I'll need to make like a new asset pack of the low world type, and then I'll make just maybe like bears, wolves, and I don't know, ravens or some shit. I'll think about it. It kind of goes to the story, which I have somewhat planned, but shh, we don't want to get into that yet. Yeah, so this is great. Everything works. Now the stacking works. Everything's fine, and I feel so good just getting this out there. Yeah. Until the next update, I guess. Bye now.